By now, you have all seen the video of the cargo ship crashing into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing it to collapse. And listen, covering the news for a living, I see crazy things on a daily basis. Things that I could never show you here. But there's not much that I can think of. There's not many things that I can think of. There's not many scenarios that I can fathom that would be scarier than being caught on a bridge as it collapses. That's like my worst nightmare. I already have anxiety when I drive over bridges. Now, it's going to be 10 times worse. I live in an area where there's a lot of bridges. There's boats going, under 24/7. You got the drawbridges, you name it. And it's just like, man, oh God, hopefully this never happens to me. But living in America currently, it kind of feels like this is going to happen again. Because we keep seeing these trends of train derailments, planes falling out of the sky, and now ships crashing into bridges. Now, I watched the video in slow motion over and over again, trying to figure out if there was anything malicious or weird about this situation. And you can see in the video that it appears that the ship loses power multiple times. So, as of right now, I don't necessarily think that this happened on purpose. I'm leaning towards this being an accident. But the internet is split. Half of the internet thinks that there is something shady behind this. They think that this was maybe done on purpose or intentionally. And the other half of the internet isn't thinking at all. They're just automatically calling everyone else conspiracy theorists. Now, it's important to note, because I feel like we lose sight of this. I'm guilty of this as well. So don't think I'm just accusing you all. But living in these crazy times, sometimes it's easy to forget that accidents do happen. Random situations arise, okay? Not everything has a deep, dark story behind it. More often than not, there is a deep, dark story behind whatever story you're looking into, but not every time. So when I'm looking at this situation, it's like, maybe there's nothing really more to the story. But a lot of people think that this is some sort of attack. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. When people are saying that this may be some sort of attack, they're not necessarily saying that the captain of the ship purposely crashed it into a bridge. No. We live in a day and age of cyber attacks. Some dude from his mom's basement across the world on a little laptop has the ability to shut down these cargo ships, has the ability to crash our power grid, and you name it. So there's some speculation that the ship may have lost power due to some type of hacking or cyber attack. So when people say that, oh, this may be an attack, they're not necessarily saying that the whole crew aboard the ship were all in on this big plan to crash into a bridge. There's a possibility that something else happened. And because of this, the U.S. economy is going to get wrecked even further. That's actually a very useful area, when it comes to shipping things. It's a very big port, and now it's totally wiped out. No ships are going to be going in. There's not going to be, people aren't going to be able to travel over that bridge. So the economy will be affected. And let's say we were in war, right? Let's say we were in some type of a Cold War, which I believe that we're in World War III right now. I just don't think it's being fought in the way that we're used to wars being fought. So if our enemy wanted to damage our economy and things like that, this is how they can go about doing it. But once again, like I said, in my opinion, this looks like an accident. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was something more. And I don't blame anyone for coming up with their theories, because We were forced to be this way. None of us want to be this way. We don't want to question everything, but we've been lied to time and time again. We know that our own government crafts crazy plans to pull the wool over our eyes and trick us and lie to us about all types of things. So what you're witnessing right now is you're witnessing people get fed up. They don't believe anything anymore. So instead of viewing people as, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, just view them as someone who's tired of being lied to. That's what it is. But, of course, I looked into this situation, even though I think it's more than likely an accident. I looked into this situation to see if I could find anything weird, anything shady. And sure enough, I kind of did. Now, I'm not saying that this is tied to the ship crashing into the bridge at all. But there's something weird that's been going on in Baltimore in the waters for the last month or so. Apparently, someone has been calling in fake distress calls to the Baltimore Coast Guard for like the last month or so. I believe they've received, I want to say maybe 19 calls. Don't quote me on that number, okay? But they've received over a dozen fake distress calls. Now, during some of these calls, they scramble the Coast Guards in their boats. They get ready to go find who's ever in trouble, and there's no one in trouble because they don't even know where this distress call is coming from. And now they have been forced to basically make a public statement about it, and they even have a bounty out there. If you can find out who is making these fake distress calls, they'll give you some money. So I think it's weird that these distress calls are happening all around the time this ship loses control and crashes into the bridge. But the Coast Guard actually recorded themselves releasing their own statement. So let's go ahead and watch that, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Hello, I'm Commander Roberto Concepcion, Chief of Response for U.S. Coast Guard, Sector Maryland National Capital Region, and today I'm asking you for your help. Since February 17th, our watchstanders and those of our partner agencies have been receiving false distress calls from an individual in the Baltimore area. The following is a recording of one of these hoax calls.
Help, is there anybody out there? Help. Anybody out there, help.
Hoax calls such as these are no joking matter and have a direct impact on our search and rescue readiness. Our crews and watchstanders may become distracted by these hoax calls, diverting them from possible real emergencies elsewhere. People's lives are at risk. This is why hoax calls can lead to criminal and civil penalties if found guilty and can be punishable by up to 10 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines plus the cost of the search. If you recognize the voice in this recording or have any information regarding the call, please contact the Coast Guard Investigative Service tip line at 410-576-2555. With your help, we can make our waterways safe.
Now, for the people in the back who obviously have a hard time hearing, I'm not saying that this is directly connected to what happened at the bridge. It probably has nothing to do with each other. But let's really think about it. It's odd that in the same time frame that this ship crashes into the bridge, that we got these people playing games, right? Fake distress calls, harassing the Coast Guard. My question is, did this affect the response to what happened that night when the bridge collapsed? Because the Coast Guard is so used to getting these prank calls, they're not getting any action. Every couple of nights they get this fake distress call. Maybe they got a real distress call on the day that the bridge collapsed and they didn't respond properly because they're thinking like, oh, maybe this is fake again. Maybe this is just a big prank. Or is there a possibility that someone out there was trying to test the response time of the Baltimore Coast Guard? Trying to test how quickly they would respond to a distress call, how quickly they would do this and do that, in preparation for knowing that they're going to try to pull something off in the area? There's a lot of questions that arise here. And even if this has nothing to do with what happened at the bridge, which, like I said, it probably doesn't, and I'm not saying it does, this could have affected the response. Because as all of this information and speculation is floating, people are saying that there were distress calls from the ship before it crashed into the bridge. They're saying that there were warnings. But I don't know if I necessarily believe that, because at the end of the day, there were 6 construction workers on the bridge who have yet to been found at the time of this recording. And I would think that if there were prior warnings, that maybe they would have warned the construction workers to get the hell off the bridge. So all this talk about prior warnings and stuff, I don't necessarily believe that. And if there were prior warnings, then why the hell didn't they shut down the bridge? Why didn't they tell the people to get off the bridge who were working on the bridge? None of that makes sense. This doesn't have to be a big conspiracy. This doesn't have to be an attack. But when you create lies and fabrications to make it look like it was just a normal situation, you're going to make more conspiracies arise. Because I don't really believe that there was this big warning and they were trying to tell everyone, hey, our ship's going to crash into the bridge. But that's what people are insinuating online as we speak. I would like to hear those distress calls, just like we heard the call that the Coast Guard shared. But if you've heard that voice before, then you may be in for some money if you choose to turn them in. But like I said, I don't know if it's tied to this situation. It's just another situation that's happening in the area that I found odd, and I felt like it was worth pointing out. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next video. Right now, you can hit the thumbs up, you can subscribe, you can donate via CashApp, and all that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll see you all soon in the next one.